Shema Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haganawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shema Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haganawa, Yahweh, Achad, Shema Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haganawa, Yahweh, Achad, Bracket the Yahweh, Bracket the Yahweh Shai, Bracket the Yahweh, Bracket the Yahweh Shai, Bracket the Yahweh, Bracket the Yahweh Shai, Bahasam Kahakodash. I want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well as peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. I was a high spiritual and lawyer, and I'm just going to go right into it, okay? So what we have is a memorandum, all right, entitled NSPM 7, all right, it came out September 2025. I'm quite sure most brothers know about it. It was just a list, an order that would classify the Antifa, all right, the anti-fascist or fascist, all right, group, all right, as basically domestic tea. You know what the T is, right? Okay, and people who are anti-American, all right, anti-capitalist, they're going to be the new domestic tea. But you know, the Most High showed us the play on how our opposition moves well over 2,000 years ago. So we're gonna get into the scriptures. All right, you've gotten. I'm sure you've gotten into the article. If not, you can look up memorandum NSPM 7. Okay, Donald Trump memorandum, anti-capitalist, anti-fascist, anti-American. All right, well we're gonna see through the scriptures. All right, how there's no new thing under the sun, and this is a strategy used against the opposition to attack the elect. All right, so I'm going to get Daniel. You know what? I'm gonna just start from the top. I'm just gonna read it. All right, this is the book of Daniel, the 6th chapter. I got the GNT with me. Okay, Daniel 6. Darius decided to appoint 120 governors to hold office throughout his empire. In addition, he chose Danya Allah and two others to supervise the governors and to look after the king's interests. Daniel, who his Hebrew name is Danya Allah, soon showed that he could do better work than the other supervisors or the governors. Because he was so outstanding, the king considered putting him in charge of the whole empire. Then the other supervisors and the governors tried to find something wrong with the way Daniel administered the empire, but they couldn't because Daniel was reliable and did not do anything wrong or dishonest. They said to each other, "We are not going to find anything of which to accuse Daniel unless it is something in connection with his religion." So basically, Daniel, because like it says in the KJV, all right, the Most High gave him an excellent spirit. He had an excellent spirit in him. And he excelled above all the other presidents and princes. So he was put above them, and in turn they envy him. So their whole thing was to overthrow him, man. All right, but this is the play. This is the play that's going to tie into the prophecies in which we're going to have to go through soon. Okay. Daniel, the book of Daniel 6 GNT. I started verse 4 again. Then the other supervisors and the governors tried to find something wrong with the way Daniel administered the empire, but they couldn't because Daniel was reliable and did not do anything wrong or dishonest. They said to each other, "We are not going to find anything of which to accuse Daniel unless it is something in connection with his religion." All right, because this is our religion. This is our faith to prophesy. Jeremiah 28, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old have prophesied against great countries, great kingdoms, against of wars, of evils, of pestilence. So that's our job. That's our design. That's what we're divinely engineered by Yahweh Basham Shai to do. Is to prophesy against great kingdoms like America. Okay? All right. Daniel 6. All right. And 5 again. They said to each other, "We are not going to find anything of which to accuse Daniel unless it is something in connection with this religion. So that's what the elites are doing. All right, they're looking at what we're doing, and they say, okay, how can we destroy them? All right, without causing the uproar, so to speak, because they were already within is already within the Constitution, the freedom to assemble, a freedom of speech. So how can we overthrow them without looking like we're violating any type of constitution, man? All right. So what's the play? Take what we're doing and call it anti-American, anti-capitalist, all right, anti-fascist, okay, which we are, and all right, we are anti-American, man. We are anti-capitalist, man. All right, capitalism is a euphemism for greed. America is spiritually Babylon the Great, man. Okay. Verse 6. So they went to see the king and said, King Darius, make your majesty live forever. Kissing ass. All of us who administer your empire, the supervisors, the governors, the lieutenant governors, Salak, and the officials and the other officials have agreed that your majesty should issue an order and enforce it strictly. Give orders that for 30 days no one be permitted to request anything from any god or from any man except from your majesty. Anyone who violates this order, sounds familiar? A memorandum, basically. All right. Anyone who violates this order is to be thrown into a pit filled with lions, which today that would be the concentration camps. All right. Anyone who ultimately doesn't take the charagma, all right, but for in our case, who's speaking against the king of Babylon, all right, who's uplifting the name of Yahweh Bahashmal Shai, all right, the fact that we're exposing their play, all right, they have to do something about us, man. But they have to make it seem constitutional, okay? Or by making us look like what? The bad guys, okay? Then this is what the opposition to Daniel did, okay? Daniel 6 and 8. So let your majesty issue this order and sign it, and it will be enforced a law of the Medes and Persians which cannot be changed. And so King Darius signed the order. All right. So basically, they manipulated, they convinced King Darius to sign an order that would result in the death of Daniel because of Daniel's worship of Yahweh Bahashim Shai, which would move their competition out the way. Okay. So basically, the order was put in place, which would inevitably cause whoever violated the order to be put to death. So that's what's going on with this memorandum and others alike. The memorandum is there with the intent to overthrow the prophets because we're in the way. We're in opposition of the New World Order. We're in opposition of the secrecy of the agenda of the elites. So that memorandum is likened to the order that we're reading about right now in Daniel the 6th chapter. And this is our reaction when Abba willing, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. But we have the strength from Yahweh Bashar Shai. They have this reaction, all right, when they go out there, when they come for us, man. Okay? So let your Daniel 6 and 8 again. So let your majesty issue this order and sign it, and it will be enforced a law of the Medes and Persians which cannot be changed. And so King Darius signed the order. When Daniel learned that the order had been signed, he went home. In an upstairs room of his house, there were windows that faced towards Jerusalem. There, just as he had always done, he knelt down at the open windows and prayed to Yahweh 3 times a day. All right? So look, like this song, I ain't got no worries. Danya Allah's everyday pattern, his routine was what? To pray towards the east to Yahweh Bahashmal Shah 3 times a day. And when he heard that there was a decree that he couldn't worship any god outside of Darius, anybody outside of Darius for 30 days, or he'll be put to death, what did he do? I can tell what he didn't do. He didn't give a fuck, man. He prayed 3 times a day to Yahweh Bashim Shai per usual. He didn't say, "Oh boy, oh man, I gotta do so. I gotta act like I don't worship the Most High. I gotta hide my garment." Like, no, it is what it is, man. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life. And it's easy to say it in a time of peace, but when the doors really get kicked in, of course your flesh gonna be like, "Oh shit." But then we gonna know, look, hey, this is time. This is our hour of Gethsemane. All right. This is our hour of the olives being crushed in the spirit, man. Okay. All right. Daniel 6:11. Well, before I get that, let me get a following precept, man. Because it's all connected. You see? But just like a memorandum, an order was put in place with the intent to overthrow the elect, which Daniel is the elect, Daniel Allah, he's the elect, judge of the Most High, judge of the power. All right, he's the elect, and it was a decree to overthrow him. Well, the decree that you see today, this memorandum and others alike, is set up with the intent to overthrow who? The hopefully elect. All right, and we're going to get that in the scripture. Daniel, not Daniel, the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and I get to the point, verse 16. Nope, get to the point, verse 17. GNT, the dragon, all right, which is Esau, Edom, Roman Empire. The dragon was furious with the woman. Who's the woman? All right, Israel. Israel is the woman. All right, I have likened Israel to a comely and delicate woman. All right, the dragon was furious with the woman and went out to fight against the rest of her descendants. Showing you that this was not an actual woman, because women don't have descendants. Really, their husbands have descendants. Okay? All those who obey Yahweh's commandments and are faithful to the truth revealed by Yahweh Shai, and the dragon stood at the seashore. But I get to the point again. Revelation 12:17 GNT, the dragon was furious with the woman and went out to fight against the rest of her descendants. All right, what does it mean to fight against the rest of her descendants? All right, it says, all those who obey Yahweh's commandments and are faithful to the truth revealed by Yahweh Shai. All right, so who was that? It's the hopeful elect. But the dragon wanted to make war by what? These decrees, all right, executive orders, these memorandums, all right, these memoranda. But they're inscribed with the intent to overthrow the elect. Okay? So, hey, like it says in the scriptures, then it should be known what? Who are my chosen, man. But let me get this. Isaiah 59. No, I'm not gonna get that out the GNT. All right, because sometimes when it's translated differently, it gives a different interpretation, a different meaning. All right, that's why we always really refer back to the KJV ultimately. All right, but I'm just gonna finish off because you tell what's about to happen. All right, through the scriptures, through prophecy, but then you tell the outcome, and the outcome is a hedge. We having a hedge. And for those of us that's going to get put to death, the Most High going to put the spirit on us to get put to death just to be back with Yahweh Shai. And just to wait on the hopefully elect to get delivered and America get destroyed. And we come right back on the planet Earth, man. Right? Without the reincarnation. Okay? Let me go. Daniel 6, and I'll close it out with just with me finishing this. Daniel 6:11. I started 10 again. Daniel 6:10 GNT. When Daniel learned that the order had been signed, he went home in an upstairs room of his house. There were windows that faced towards Jerusalem. There, just as he had always done, he knelt down at the open windows and prayed to Yahweh 3 times a day. All right, and you can read the rest. I said I was gonna finish it, but you know what? Through the Spirit, you can read the rest. Okay, because that was the attitude was the point was his attitude towards that decree that went out that he should be put to death if he worshiped anybody outside of Darius, man. All right, and he just indifferently went to his prayer routine, his usual routine, Salat, and which is to have the open windows, and he went to the open windows that was face the east, which was face Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, per usual. Like, and that's showing his faith by his works, man. He showed his faith by keeping stoic, keeping his spiritual masculine frame, so to speak, how they would say in today's terminology. All right, he stayed stoic and he stayed faithful, man. And ultimately, you go into the account, he got delivered, man. All right, but that's pretty much the point, just showing, hey, there's no new thing under the sun. These decrees is going out. It's just going back to Daniel. All right, laws put in place to overthrow the hopefully elect. Going back to Revelation, the dragon is making war with her seed. Who's her? The nation of Israel. All right, the seed is the descendants that keep the commandment, which is the 1/3, man, the elect. But I hope this was of edification. Once again, I would like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Hawashai, Bahashim Kodash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well, as well as peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. Abba Baal, Kam Yashala, Shalom.